Hello and welcome to another out of spec detailing video here from Austin, Texas with a Foundation Series Tesla Cybertruck. You guys have been asking for this video and I have brought it. So we are using all the household cleaners to test on the Tesla Cybertruck stainless steel to see if any of these are truly better than professional detailing products. Welcome back to another out of spec detailing video. Let's jump into it. Well, as you can see, I've made a complete mess of this. And I think that's important because I want to see what happens when you kind of let it go too much, if you will. So we're just going to first start off here. Let's try the isopropyl alcohol wipes. Now, this is something you may, hey, I want to keep this in my glove box type of deal. This may be super nice for quickly wiping up fingerprints. So let's just see. Part of the issue here is it's so wet and I can see it's just streaking the heck out of this. I will bring you guys in closer so you guys can see up close. I really don't like this at all. I would prefer you just have a bottle of isopropyl alcohol if that's what you prefer. From my testing, it was not even in, I guess it was in the top 3 or 4 of the other products I used, but Windex was a way better product for using it here. So let me show you what I mean by that. I'm gonna grab some towels over here. I've got a fresh stock, so every single one we're using new towels. That helps with cross-contamination, making sure. Spraying a little Windex, of course not a professional detailer grade trigger there. Wiping that. So as you can see, it dries and then you have a dry side. Boom, way easier. That looks absolutely perfect. So way better already than alcohol wipes. And I'll tell you, the same thing goes for using isopropyl alcohol versus the Windex here. The Windex is truly incredible and I really didn't expect it. Now the side of this truck has some interesting little spots on it. It seems to me to be something environmental that has sat on the actual metal surface here and created these marks. I've shown it a few times in other videos. Maybe we'll play around with some of these if I can get them to work properly and see what that actually does. But there we go. So next I want to try stainless wipes. Okay, this may be kind of interesting. Again, I think a lot of these are going to be very oily and oily based. So I'm just very curious, what does this look like? And keep in mind, this is one of those products that everybody says this is the best product out there for cleaning stainless steel. How's that look? Not great. So this is what I'm getting at. I think there's a lot of people who think they know what they're talking about with stainless steel, but don't really understand it. Now, my recommendation with this would probably be to come in and wipe it with another towel. So I don't really understand the use of having it in a wipe form for the Cybertruck. So let's just wipe this off. And you can see a streaky, smeary mess that has completely changed the entire finish of the truck. That's not what you want at all. This looks way better than this because you can't get this smooth. You have to constantly do it. And this is what I'm saying. If you have fingerprints like this, you're now having to do the entire truck. That makes no sense. Whereas if you come in here and use stainless or Windex in this regard, let's just take a little portion of this and see if it kind of strips that off, if you will. You can immediately see that go away. This looks way better. Way, way, way better. So I would say this is completely out. This, I'm not sure exactly how to use this. I believe this is like a sprayable. So it says you shake, spray, wipe with the grain and buff. So let me explain one thing about the Cybertruck surface that I think most of you are not going to understand. My impression with the truck originally was you're going to have these streaks basically going down as far as the grain. Typically it's in one direction, and what we are seeing is it going basically width and lengthwise of the vehicle. Some of these trucks are sanded from new, and this is a whole nother video topic But I spoke with a gentleman at Tesla yesterday. He's a detailer there. He told me they're refinishing the surface on the Cybertrucks, even from new. Basically, it is a 7 to 8 step full sanding on the entire truck. So they are starting at like 120 grit, going up to 660 or 680 grit to finish it out. That's not polishing afterwards. It is dry sanding with a DA orbital. And he said that is really the best way to get a clean finish. This particular truck already has that done. So I want you to keep that in mind. Now, we've been around here in Austin for a few days now, and yesterday we had another truck that was Turoed. It did not have that finish. It was like normal stainless steel. So you're gonna see a few different things. But this to me is exactly what I expected to see from all these polishes. So stainless steel cleaner and polishes. This is exactly what I expected, to turn it orange, to be a smudgy mess, and really have to be a situation where you have to constantly do this all the time. You're not gonna do this one panel and leave the doors without it. So I think that's a really, really interesting thing to go. Now, Barkeeper's Friend is one that I'm nervous to use. And I'm gonna tell you, I am not going to use this. If you want to test it on your Cybertruck and screw up the finish, please be my guest. This is my customer's brand new truck. He loves the darn thing. I am not going to take an abrasive to this and completely mess it up. I'm worried about it getting shiny. If you've tested it, great. Sorry, but this particular one, the dry compound formula, as the charge port opens right now, is not going to be used. I'm happy to test this, and we will later in the video. So next up, let's try a little bit of the stainless steel polishes. So again, as I said, I think they're gonna put this layer on there, and it's gonna be an oily layer. Same with WD-40. My brother recommends this all the time for stainless steel. I think this is fine for small applications. What I think is the issue with a lot of these products, once they get water on it, basically as you drip water down this, it's gonna do this. So you're gonna have all these freckly spots all over it using stuff like this. And the other part about that is when you introduce oil or things to surface, it actually attracts dirt. Your refrigerator doesn't sit outside. Your kitchen sink doesn't sit outside. It's constantly being rinsed with water. Water spots are a serious issue with it. So I don't think this is necessarily the right application for a Cybertruck. That's my personal opinion. I could be totally wrong here. So I'm just gonna apply a little here, and we're just gonna go right next to the other Weimann one. And as I expected, completely the same look. It deepens it a little bit, but again, you can see like other areas, you're gonna have to do the entire panel. I personally think this is too orange. Stainless steel really goes 3 colors. It has a bright silver like this. It goes somewhat orange, kind of brownish, and then very blue in this particular area. You can see the same thing over here with fingerprints. So I want you to think about these stainless steel cleaners and polishes as literally just large fingerprints. You're basically just covering everything up, and you're gonna have to constantly do that over time. My personal opinion, these don't look right. This is what actually looks right. So you can disagree with me, that's totally fine. If you wanna test other stuff on your Cybertruck or your friend's Cybertruck, great, I think that's awesome. But yeah, my results so far from what I'm seeing, not that interesting, or very interesting, but not that intriguing to use household grade chemicals. Now this is another one. This is made by Method. My wife uses this stuff a lot. It's very eco-friendly and plant-based and all this fun stuff. Let's see what it does here. Same exact look. Again, all you're doing is just putting this oily mess on here. And this just streaks like crazy, like just buffing off, clean side. That looks like crap. So this is what I'm talking about. All you folks who say, I know how to clean stainless steel. This stuff is totally different than your household, kitchen, refrigerator, appliance, whatever it is. It does not work. It really doesn't. So I think lastly, I'm gonna get the Barkeeper's Friend over here opened up, and we'll try a little spot. Again, I'm a little nervous about that being more of a full-on kind of abrasive compound, if you will. So keep that in mind. And then lastly, we're gonna try some WD-40. My brother said you have to try it. We're gonna try it. So on to Barkeeper's Friend. Now, this is, again, one that really freaks me out, and I really, really don't like the idea or concept behind this, but we gotta give it a try. So I'm gonna try a very small area here, and just see what this does. And then I will bring you guys in, like I said before. So interesting, I want you to see this. It brings off a lot of black because it is metal here. Interesting stuff going on there. It did somewhat brighten it, but darkens it in other areas. Let me play with this a little bit more. Okay, gonna grab a fresh towel here. Let's test out some WD-40. Brother, you better be right on this one. Just gonna put a little here on my towel. Let's go right here next to the Barkeepers. So interesting stuff. I do want to test this on like a handprint here and see how this does. All right, well, I'm going to bring you guys in a little bit closer and we can look at what the heck is going on here, because these results are fascinating, I think. And I think this is probably the most interesting experiment that I've done yet. So again, as I talked about, I really don't think having a polish or something like that is necessarily the way to go on Cybertruck. I think it adds a little bit too much of that oranginess in here, and areas like this, it still needs to be somewhat wiped off, but it's really, really odd how it actually looks and works. Now, one thing I do want to do is do a fingerprint test on this to see what it is. So keep in mind, again, here we had Windex, we had our isopropyl alcohol, then we moved into our stainless steel polishes. I'm just telling you guys my personal opinion. If you want to do this to your entire truck, great, but it looks very, very orange, and it doesn't really look that consistent throughout. This is okay in the middle here, but again, I think you're gonna have to do the entire thing every time, which makes a mess working around plastic, around windows, things like that. Whereas Windex, this just looks bright and crystal clear and really, really nice. I really, really like the finish on this Windex. So again, moving down Weimann's here, this with this Method stainless steel cleaner. This is a streaky mess here. So let me just test here because I'm very curious what fingerprints look like on these. Still fingerprints. Still fingerprints. Definitely still fingerprints. And definitely still fingerprints. So again, Windex is not doing anything that is going to protect it against fingerprints. I really don't think any of these polishes are. So again, keep in mind here, this was the WD-40. Not really into that much, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, it does kind of look better than over here. These are more orangey, but I still don't think I really like this finish. This was Barkeeper's, which was interesting to say the least. In person, yes, it does make it brighter, but I'm not sure about the actual finish on here. You can see how it's got some different marks. You can probably work this down a lot more. That's probably what this stuff's really meant for. But these were my findings, and I think they're very interesting. I would say other than Windex, Barkeeper's was actually the second best. The WD-40, as you can see, it definitely makes it look oily. It's got a little slickness to it. And I think after the fact, when you pour some water over stuff like this, and I didn't do a fingerprint test, it will still fingerprint, of course, on WD-40. As water kind of forms down it and runs off of it, say you leave the truck outside, it rains, you're gonna have these spots all over it because it's gonna take the oily residue off here. I wanted to insert this clip and give a little bit more clarity. In this particular video, off camera, after I actually filmed this particular segment, you can see I'm back home at the shop now. I did some more testing off camera and I cracked the code to the Cybertruck stainless steel using 2 of the products that were in this particular video. So please stay tuned for the final wrap-up video of the Tesla Cybertruck series, all of the testing and cleaning protection products we use. Just wait for it. I promise it'll be worth the wait here. So my preference here, yet again, which is insane, would be Windex. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. This was truly fascinating. I'm glad we got this done. Now on to some professional protectants and sealants and coatings and all of that fun stuff. And then I can say, we have fully detailed a Tesla Cybertruck today. Thanks so much for watching another out of spec detailing video. I know this one's gonna be comment filled that I did this all wrong, but I'm telling you guys, the stainless on the Cybertruck is not your refrigerator or your kitchen sink. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one soon. Bye-bye.